Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Y'all already know. Tap in, tap in. What's going on, family? Cal, what up? We got Instagram, we got YouTube, and LinkedIn. So thank you, Cal, for the badges over on Instagram. So today I want to hop on real quick while I got a few minutes because this past weekend I was in DC. I'm not sure if you guys are hearing what's going on. And I think because the shutdown is affecting people in DC more than people are feeling it. You know, in DC, there's a lot of government workers, there's a lot of subcontractors to the military. It's actually affecting people outside of DC. You're talking about public parks. You're talking about what is it called? TSA. Like you're talking about people in different sectors that are paid by the government. And I was talking with someone who was out there this past weekend, and they said, Will, do you understand that we still have to go to work? And if we don't go to work, we can be fired. And I was like, wow. So people are actually going to work. They're not getting paid. They're frustrated. But it was something that was said to me that I think we need to talk about. Okay. Here's what was said to me. They said, Will, I have friends who are in the government where both spouses get a check from the government and they're on the verge of losing everything. Let me say that again. It's a couple, both spouses are getting, well, they're not getting paid, but they're furloughed with the government, and neither one of them are getting a paycheck right now. But yet they were talking about how life is getting rocky for them financially. And I sat back, I didn't respond right away. And if y'all see me looking at two screens, I got Instagram, I got YouTube and LinkedIn. And so as I sat back then and before I responded, I wanted to gather my thoughts because I was like, hold on. At this point, the government shutdown had only been about 12 days. And I know they get paid bi-weekly. And so then I said back to my friend, I said, you mean to tell me they're about to lose everything after missing one paycheck? And I said, what do you think they make? And they said, well, based upon their rank combined, they probably make about $300,000 a year. And so I said, so you mean to tell me they're in the top 1% of income for a family, for a household, and they've missed one paycheck, and they're already talking about they're going to financially collapse. And I said, it's not the shutdown. They were over leveraged. See, ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing that I'm starting to see that's starting to be a reoccurring theme. It's starting to be a reoccurring situation. It's starting to be a reoccurring scenario. I'm seeing so many people who it's not the circumstance that's putting them in a financial bind. It's their habits. Now, the financial circumstance or the shutdown or whatever life situation that can throw them in a, as I call it, financial purgatory. A lot of the times people are already in a financial ruin before the catastrophe happens. And so I ask myself, and I want to ask you all, and hopefully you'll talk back. Are you even prepared? Have you squandered your investment years? Have you squandered your income investing years just because you knew another paycheck was coming in 2 weeks. Now, I know people who, and I'm trying to say this without sounding like a douchebag, but I know people that I make 10 times more money than them, but they live way more extravagant than me. Let me say that again. I know people who I run circles around them financially. I know because I've seen their tax returns. And they live way more extravagant than me. Bigger house, you know, the trips, the I mean, I don't post a lot of personal stuff, so a lot of people don't really see that side of my life, but or just even how I live. But I I see the things that people indulge in with their paycheck, and I ask myself, the house is about to crumble any day now. That house is about to crumble any day. And so when I read that over 750,000 people are furloughed right now, it's only a matter of time before it's possibly coming to your backyard. AI is coming for your jobs. Eventually, home ownership will be impossible for a lot of you. When you're furloughed, you can't borrow money. When you're downsized, when your income changed, I just saw UPS is about to downsize 20,000 employees. Like, things are about to get very rough. And so here's what I want to talk to you all about. What have you been doing up to that point to where one paycheck, you're already worrying about losing everything? What have you been doing up to that point where after one paycheck, the government has been shut down for one paycheck period, and people are already panicking? Which lets me to believe, have you been preparing yourself financially, or were you frivolously spending because you were like, oh, I know I'm good. I know I get paid in 2 weeks. Or even if you're not in the government and your income is shrinking, did you live life based upon you depending on that paycheck coming the following week or 2 weeks? Dre's nightclub just shut down. I knew a lot of those club promoters. A lot of them was very arrogant. Had the suits where I could see the balls on the ankles, and they a lot of them were arrogant. Dre's is closing. They're not getting the people aren't spending on bottle service no more out here in Las Vegas like they used to. That's how they make their money. So I ask myself, what are you doing to prepare yourself if your income slows down? And for most people, they don't have an answer. But then here's what I see what often happens. And I see this when people are hopping on my webinars. People are now looking for investing to save their life. Investing does not save your life tomorrow. Investing won't even save your life this year. Let me say that again. Trying to invest in real estate is not going to save your life this year. Because first of all, it may take you 3 months to unlearn everything and all of the bad money habits you've had. You don't even have the stomach to invest yet. You don't even have the risk tolerance to invest yet in crypto and real estate and whatever it is. Somebody said, what kind of suits? The suits were you can see the balls on their ankles. That's what the club promoters wear out here. Hey, brother, coming from Chicago, it was useless. You're starting now. If you've been in a game, you winning now. Absolutely. The people who winning and investing right now, we've been investing for the past 5-10 years. We've been telling y'all to invest, but people wanted to gamble with their paycheck. I'm not even talking about sports betting. I'm not even talking about going to the casino. I'm talking about people wanted to gamble with their paycheck, throwing their money at things with zero strategy in place. People think a strategy is moving to a new city. Let me tell you something. If you can't make it in Illinois, you're not going to make it in California. If you can't make it in Las Vegas, you're not going to make it in Atlanta. It's all the same. Matter of fact, a lot of the times when you move to a different city, the money is different. You like, oh, I'm gonna go to LA. They make more money. Yeah, and the taxes are higher. Are you prepared to drive an hour to make $17 an hour? See, we don't have a reality of what is reality financially or economically. Here's the thing I often tell people, and I say this with all due respect. I think a lot of people don't really know what's a lot of money to them, because they assume that the money they're making is a lot of money to do the things that they want to do. Let me say that again. A lot of people have a hard time identifying what's a lot of money, because we've associated a lot of money tied to the hourly wage. What about Texas? I'm ready to go. All this is so true. We assume a lot of money is tied to the hourly part. How much you make? Oh, I make like $27 an hour. But we didn't calculate taxes. We didn't calculate state tax. We didn't calculate. Then we don't calculate the tax it costs to live in a city. Did you all know that there is a tax to live in the city that is desirable? If you want to live in LA, there's an LA tax that you have to pay to live the way that you want to live. You didn't move to LA to live in poverty. You didn't move to Atlanta to live in poverty. You didn't move to Florida to live in poverty. You moved there with aspirations of living the life you saw on social media. But yet you don't even understand the tax it costs to live in those cities. If you want to live by the beach, you're going to pay the tax to live by a beach. But that's because a lot of the times people move to cities thinking that their life is going to be like their vacation. That's not how real life looks. People move to Vegas every single month thinking that they're going to have the life like the weekend they had when they came to Las Vegas. It's not like that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm on the strip pretty frequently. I rarely see locals. It's $40 to park at every single casino in Las Vegas. You go to 3 casinos, that's $120 just to walk in the door. $120 just to walk in the door of the casino. Don't valet, it's $150. I went to the UFC fight last week, $200 to valet. Luckily, I had a platinum card, only had to pay $100. So We move to these cities, or we want to move to these popular destinations, not understanding the tax, not the federal and state tax, the tax it costs to live the way you think you're going to live when you go to an Atlanta, when you go to a Houston, when you go to a Dallas, when you go to a Vegas, when you go to LA, when you go to Miami. You don't even think about that. You just know you came from Mobile, Alabama, making $12.50, and now you're going to LA making 25, not knowing that 40% of that is gone. That $25 in LA is now $12.50. You might as well stay in Alabama. But that's because a lot of the people, unfortunately, aren't putting any economic parameters in place for them to be able to level up. Somebody said, Will, convince me I should be in your program. I said, just go look at your bank statements. Why should I have to convince you? You know which bill you had to move to the back of the end of the year? You know how many car notes you done missed? I don't have to convince you. Your circumstance will convince you. Bought a property 1 year ago with REI 90, about to refi and pull out $35K in just 12 months. Real life Monopoly. Jalen, they don't even understand how the game of Monopoly works. Most people do not understand how the game of Monopoly works. Real talk, you have to have a game plan to play these big cities. More opportunities in LA than Alabama, depending on what you got going on. But most people are not in position to take on opportunities because there's a cost for opportunity cost. Just because a city is bigger doesn't mean that people are thriving more frequently there. There's people in Hollywood who are about to be homeless. It has nothing. So my point is, ladies and gentlemen, it has nothing to do with the city you're living in. If you're struggling in Alabama, odds are you're going to struggle in California because you're still taking the same habit. Very rare does somebody move to another city and their life magically changes without them changing. Very rare. Katina said, I Google free parking. Well, you're going to have to park at the state line if you want to park for free in Vegas. If you want to park for free in Vegas, go park at Prim. That's the California state line. It's a 45-minute drive from the city. No one ever calculated the cost of money living. Most people don't. Most people never calculate how much it's going to cost for them to live. Why is this important? It's important because I understand that a lot of people who aren't furloughed because due to the government shutdown, they aren't thinking that this can't happen to me. But do you know there's over 750 people approximately who've been furloughed who are not getting a paycheck and they still have to go to work or they can be fired, that at one point they thought this could possibly never happen to them. Because government jobs, it was considered safe. Ladies and gentlemen, there is no such thing as safe when it comes to anything that you do not control. If you don't control it, it's not safe. That's why I say he who controls land controls man. I was in Rockford, Illinois this past Saturday. I spoke out there. Shout out to Stacy Brown, probably one of the top realtors in the country. We need financial economic mentorship. It's out here. People don't sign up for it. It's out here. I know people who've literally been following me since the corner classes in 2016, and they're doing worse now. We don't need more mentorship. We need to get activated. We don't need more mentorship. We need to grow up. We need to get serious. People more worried about saying pause on the internet than understanding what their financial statement looks like. Like, we play too much. We don't take people. I know grown men and women who don't take life serious. 40 plus, 30 plus, 3 kids, 5 kids. Still on the internet doing the nay dance. And don't have nan piece of real estate. Like, we got to stop playing it. People really think life like this is a game, and then want sympathy when their life is in shambles. It doesn't work like that. I have zero sympathy for people who don't take their life serious. I have zero sympathy for people who don't take their life serious. Why you want to go have fun with your money, but then need to borrow my money? No. Keep that same energy. But here's why it's going to be so hard for people to get to that next level. Because people think investing is going to cure their circumstance immediately. People think, oh, let me hurry up and find a coaching program. Let me hurry up and join a mentorship program. Now, I'm going to give some strategy here today before I get out of here. But people think the quick fix is mentorship. And this is why so many people get let down when they join these coaching programs. See, you're looking for that person to save your life when you haven't done anything to even just get stable. And this is why I often say, I'm not trying to teach you to be rich. I'm just trying to teach you to be stable. Because through stability, you will get rich through stability. But a lot of you aren't stable financially. Because you play with your check too much. My sister works TSA. She's big time stressing. Yeah, people are stressed out for one paycheck being missing. The government has been shut down like 13 days and people are already scrambling. That tells me that they were already at the max of their income. Now, let me give you all some harsh reality here today. And you might not even like these responses, but that's okay. Just keep doing what hasn't been working for you. See, I remember when I started going to the gym seriously. Like, I remember when I first kind of started going to the gym in like 2016, most people can't last a week without a check. Absolutely not, pressure. They can't. We're seeing it now. People are collapsing. I'm about to go hit up every divorce attorney to get houses on the low. Because people aren't planning properly. But I remember when I first started going to the gym, like around 2016, 2017, and I would just go in there. I never broke a sweat. My arms never hurt. Like, no muscle ever hurt when I went to the gym. And that's why I looked the way I looked in a lot of my pictures. I got zero results because I wanted to go in the gym and come out feeling comfortable. See, that's how a lot of people are living their lives right now. They want to go through this thing called growth unscathed. They want to have an economic burst without any type of like friction involved. There's going to be some friction involved if you plan on growing financially. And a lot of you aren't willing to take that sacrifice because of the manipulation of Photoshop and pictures you put on your social media. You sold perfection to your audience. See, a lot of you will not be able to have the life you really want because you've sold perfection on your social media page. You made people think that you made people think that you can really afford the car you drive. You made people think that the trips you take that's really how your life is. Like you've made people think that, and so people are more embarrassed to make the sacrifices than to actually position themselves to have some form of stability. If y'all really understood what it takes to invest in yourself, I'll give you an example. So when I was in DC and I got a chance to go and record with Ebony McMorris, White House correspondent. Thank you, Ebony, for interviewing me this past weekend. And we actually did the interview on Howard University campus. Okay, so shout out to Howard University. And so we did the interview there. And as we're driving around, and we actually went to Founders Row, like, because I don't even know if I ever, like, I think I have maybe walked like one or two college campuses. But to get an opportunity to walk around Howard, it was like, it kind of gave me a little bit of goosebumps because you always heard about Howard, and it's an HBCU Ivy League equivalent. And I was with my good friend Cayman Kelly. Shout out to Cayman Kelly on Heart and Soul XM Radio. And I asked him, I said, Cayman, how much do you think it costs to go to Howard? He said $66,000. I said, to read? I said, hold on. It costs $66,000 to read books? And he said, yeah. I said, so you mean to tell me for a 4-year degree at Howard, a 4-year degree, it's about $260,000 to read books and party and make friends? He said, yes. I said, I'm glad I went to a community technical college and dropped out. Because statistically, 60% of people who get a degree never work in the field that they get a degree in. Did y'all just hear about Full Sail University? Come to find out that they were pretty much running a Ponzi scheme of degrees. If you're just tapping in, we're talking about, are you financially secure with your income? And if your income stopped today, after one paycheck, can you even survive? For a lot of people, the answer is no. And so here's what I learned. Here's what I started thinking about as I found out that it costs $260,000 for a 4-year degree at Howard University. You may come out and make $50,000 a year. We make investments in ourselves all the time. But for some reason, when we become an adult, for some reason, men, when you get a little hair on your chest, women, when you know how to go and pick out the purse you want, when you learn how to walk in 9-inch high heels, we all of a sudden forget to invest back into our growth. When we become adults, we only invest in looking good, but not being good. Why is that? Why is it that when we become adults, we only invest in attempting to look good, but we don't invest in being good or being better? If you are not looking at what's taking place right now, and you are not willing to make the sacrifices to at least just have to be at stability, One of my clients, Jalen Flowers, just said he bought a property and he's about to cash out tax-free $35,000. See, here's one of the things that I know most people don't know, and this is why there will always be stuck financially. We don't understand the cost of money. See, your lifestyle is costing you too much because you don't even understand how much the money cost that you're using. Your paycheck is the most expensive money that you can borrow against. Somebody write that down. Your paycheck is the most expensive money you can borrow against. Why? Because for every dollar that you make, you're already 30% in the hole. But yet you've calculated your living expenses off of 100% of your paycheck. I'll give you an example. I remember when I was working at yellowpages.com, and every paycheck, when I was getting my commission, because we got paid on commission, I made $30,000 base, and then I would make a commission. Here's what I used to do every pay period. Okay, I make, let's just say I was getting $2,800 a month, a week. Excuse me, a month. So I'll put $2,800, and then I would subtract my expenses from the $2,800. Okay, rent, car note, insurance, cell phone bill, utilities, groceries, and most people stop there. Your breakdown is already flawed. One, you didn't calculate taxes out the $2,800. Two, you didn't calculate your deductions like your medical. You didn't calculate your 401k disbursement. You didn't calculate your wage garnishment, because I know a lot of people have wage garnish. Like, we don't calculate none of that stuff. And then we don't calculate the $10 a day you spend at Starbucks. You didn't calculate the $15 every other day you spend at Burger King. I remember I had a Burger King habit. Every day I stopped at Burger King, I got an egg and cheese croissant biscuit with a large hash brown and a large orange juice. I never put that in my calculations. And then every day, I got a vitamin water and a honey bun. I didn't put that in my calculations. And then at lunchtime, I would go across the street to Green Valley Ranch Casino, and I would get a burger and fries. I never calculated that in my budget. When I put $25 on a blackjack table on my lunch break, I never put that into my budget. So I'm calculating expenses from my gross income, but then I'm not adding in all my expenses from my net income. This is why you're going to stay in the financial deficit you're in. Your paycheck is the expensive money you can borrow. Your paycheck is the most expensive money you can borrow. And I say that because most people squander their paycheck. Now, what can we do? Here's the painful part. We're going to have to start practicing group economics. You're going to have to cut down your living expenses. You got to figure it out some kind of way. Most people live check to check because they don't have a budget. I agree. It's not always the economy's fault. And I'm going to tell you why. Did nobody tell you to upgrade your house? For every 10 people that I know personally, 15 of them got a new car when interest rates were higher. For every 10 people I know, they increased their living expenses during COVID. For every 10 people I know, they took on more credit card debt so they can go to Tulum. For every 10 people I know, they have more junk in their closet prior to the pandemic. For every 10 people I know, the meals they started eating were more exotic. You used to eat pork chops. You didn't eat lamb chops. You didn't even know lambs existed. You didn't even know you could eat lamb. You was eating pork chops. Went from spending $4 for a pack of meat to $45 for a pack of meat. That's why your finances is jacked up. And then you don't even know how to cook it. You don't even know how to cook the lamb chops. So, number one, you are going to have to figure out how to lower your expenses in the next 90 days. Go sell all that stuff in your closet. Plato's Closet, go to the Real. You're going to have to go sell a lot of that stuff in your closet. Somebody will buy it. Here's another strategy. Somebody write these down. Here's another one. Go refinance your vehicle. If you bought your vehicle and you paid $40,000 and now you owe $20,000, go refinance. You may be able to lower your payment. Even if you lowered $100, that's an additional $1,200 a year. Right now, you got to be able to figure out how to squeeze every extra dollar out of your household expenses. You got to figure out how to squeeze every extra dollar out of your paycheck. Go refinance your car, especially if your credit has increased. If your credit has increased over the past year, go refinance your vehicle to get that payment down. It's a strategy I do with a lot of my clients when we look at their overall expenses. Go refinance your vehicle. Go do it tomorrow. And if your credit not in position, why is your credit not in position? You're 50 with a 500 credit score. Somebody asked me the other day, Will, if somebody got bad credit, should they date? I wouldn't date nobody with bad credit. Because I couldn't build with somebody who isn't financially responsible. You letting your kids down, your future kids, your future spouse, your current spouse. I remember one time I was having a convo with a young king, and he got on the phone with me. He said, Will, I'm scared. I said, I just went to your Instagram page and you was holding a pistol. What you scared of? He said, I'm scared to take risk. I'm like, you're lying to yourself. No, you're not. But then as we got to talking, I said, fam, can I keep this so real with you? Somebody said credit leads to debt. Consumer credit does. That's another lie we got to stop telling ourselves. Credit doesn't lead to debt. Credit that doesn't make you money leads you to debt. I said, King, can I keep it completely 100 with you? He said, yes. I said, King, let me tell you something. Your queen is on the internet looking at other men thriving. You don't have time to be scared. You got to learn how to start producing. And he actually thanked me for that. Because we got to start telling each other the truth. We only get scared when it comes time for growth. I've never heard nobody say they're scared to go buy a car, even though the interest you're paying on the car is probably more than the interest you're going to pay when you buy a house. I've never heard nobody say they're scared. I've never heard nobody say they're scared when they swipe their credit card to take a vacation. I've never heard nobody say they're scared when they want to celebrate their birthday for a month. I've never heard nobody say that. But we scared when it comes time to invest. We're scared when it comes time to invest. But we're not scared when it comes time to having fun. Let me tell y'all my 4-step Roundtree methodology. If you master these 4 steps, I promise you, your life will be completely different. It's changed tens of thousands of lives. And if your life isn't different, it's because you don't practice these things. I don't know what else to tell you. There's no government stimulus check that's going to change your life. There's no new SBA loan. There's no new Navy federal hack. There's no new Chase hack that's going to change your life unless you don't change your habits. Number 1, if you do not change your mindset on money, it's no guru that can help you. I don't care who it is. You can go sign up. You can go sign up and work with Myron Golden. But if you still got the same poor mentality, you will not be different. I don't care who you sign up with. It's you. It has nothing to do with the mentor. This is why so many people fail when they invest in coaching programs, because they're going in with the same mentality. Could you imagine hiring a personal trainer and you're walking in saying, you know what? I'll listen to you give me advice on lifting weights, but I like Big Macs. I'm not cutting out pizza. I like beer. I like sugary drinks. I like Snickers and Doritos. No trainer is going to want to work with you, because it's not like the trainer isn't there to make sure you get in shape. The trainer is there for the guidance, the education of getting in better shape, the accountability, but they can't make you do the work or change your thought process of how to be better in shape. Same thing financially. Too many people join coaching programs with pipe dreams of being rich, but like, how can you fix your lips to say you want to be a millionaire, but you won't even spend $10,000? I've never met a person who became a millionaire for free. Not even the lottery winner. So, number 1, you have to change your mindset. And it's not just about being motivated or hoping that it works, because people often say, well, how will I know this will work? Well, nothing will work because you don't think nothing will work. You're already going in with a preconceived notion, because I also understand that a lot of people don't want to do the work. They don't want to cut back. Do y'all know how long I had to spend money on myself before people started spending money with me? Do y'all know when I was doing my cocktails and credit events and y'all was coming to for free, it cost me at least $15,000 a city. For me, like, that was the investment I had to make to get in front of y'all. $15,000 per city for me to buy hotels, flights, and I was bringing my whole team out. If you aren't going to invest in you, nobody else is. When people hit me in my DM and say, hey, OG, can you give me a little bit of advice? Yeah, educate yourself. I'm not giving you strategies that people in my coaching program invest in. Because when it's free, you don't value it anyway. And the reason I know is because I've I have people who have joined my coaching program who never spent $1 and never got on a call. I've done giveaways. I've done raffles. I've done scholarships for people to join my coaching programs in the past, and they never got on one call. If you don't have no skin in the game, you will not take life serious. Number one, you got to change your mindset. Number two, you got to understand the power of really what credit is and leveraging credit is. You have to understand it. Because if you don't, you have no chance of making it. Right now, your paycheck is not going to save you. It's barely stretching 30 or 31 days right now. And most people hadn't started investing in anything. No 401k, like no 401, no IRA, no life insurance policy. Like people have to be convinced to get life insurance. We're talking about life insurance. Like people have to be convinced to get life insurance. But we got insurance on I don't have insurance on not one of my phones because this is zero value to me. If it breaks, I just won't use it. I don't want nobody call me anyway. I enjoy my peace. People spend more money on insurance on a phone than on their life. Yo, we got to grow up. Number two, understanding the cost of money. Here's why I love real estate. Where my little greenhouse. Here's why I love real estate. The banks exist so that they can lend money against this. And then as long as I have these, I can live tax-free. And then when I want to get liquid, I borrow against this because as long as you have real estate, this would be your cheapest money. Think about it. If you go borrow money, unsecured debt right now from a SoFi, you're going to go and borrow $40,000 at 21% interest on a 4-year term. I can go and borrow $100,000 on a 30-year fix at a 7% rate. My payment on $100,000 at 7% on a 30-year term is going to be $600. That $40,000 you borrow from SoFi on a 3-year term at 21% is going to cost you $1,000. That is why you can't compete, because you borrow money that's too expensive. And then when you get the money, you blow it. You don't even put it back into buying more of this. Matter of fact, you don't even buy this. You want to keep buying experiences. Somebody said, you don't have a money problem. You have a strategy problem. You want to be a millionaire, but don't see the value in investing to fix your credit. And I'm not even saying pay somebody. You don't even want to pay your regular bills, but you want to pay millionaire bills? You don't even pay your regular bills, but you want millionaire bills. Millionaire bills come with paying other people's bills. You do know that, right? Millionaire bills come with paying your accountant, paying your attorney. You don't even like paying H&R Block, but you want to pay an accountant? You don't want to pay for bookkeeping. You don't want to pay for an assistant. You don't want to pay for nothing when it comes to delegation to ensure that you can make another $1 million or multiply your millions. But you want to make $1 million? You want to make 7 figures? You want to make 6 figures? If you want to make a high 6 figures, you got to be able to pay other people's bills. And you don't even like paying your bills. I think I'm going to put that on a shirt. You want to be a millionaire? You want millionaire bills, but you don't even pay your regular bills? trying to figure out how not to pay your bills, but you want millionaire bills. We got to understand the cost of money. I will always go and borrow money against my real estate assets. And here's why. Because my money is hedged. If something happens after I've went back and reinvested that money into the marketplace, all I have to do is sell the asset to break even. But when you go borrow $40,000 from SoFi, so you can put a pool in your backyard, and then when you're furloughed or when you lose your job or when you get whatever happens, now you got to figure out how to still pay that pool. At least I could sell an asset. You can't even resell concert tickets for a profit no more. Say, oh, I'll just buy tickets and then resell them. Remember the last year I bought Raider season tickets. I couldn't resell them to save my life. I started giving them away. That's why I don't do season tickets no more. I couldn't even get a Raider tickets away. Number 4, you got to buy assets. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't buy assets, just stay on the path you're on. Again, stay on the path you're on. I mean, just stay on the path you're on. I don't have to convince you that you're not happy with your life. You know, your kids know, your boo know, your car know, your house, your bank know. Your credit card companies know. They know where you're at financially. That's why y'all be dodging people calls, because you owe people. Look, I answer every phone call. When somebody be like, "Oh, I get too many spam calls," so that's why I screen my call. If it's a spam call, I just hang up. I don't get upset because people call my phone. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Your information is out there. If you breathe, somebody has your information. You're going to get spam calls. I answer every call because I never know if it's a check on the other end of that call. So I answer every call when I can, because I do get pretty busy. So number 1, change your mindset. Number 2, got to understand the power of credit. Number 3, you got to understand the cost of money. You have to figure out how to get cheaper money into your life and deploy it and put it back out there into the market so that it can make you more money. And number 4, you have to buy assets. Ladies and gentlemen, click the link in my bio. I'm actually hosting a free webinar that's coming up Thursday where I'm going to teach people how to protect their paycheck and how to actually invest and actually learn how to make money investing and how to actually position themselves so that they ain't got to be worrying about stuff in the next several years. Because I'm going to tell you something, home ownership is about to be null and void for 60% of America. Just go follow what Blackstone is doing right now. 60% of America will not ever in their life have a chance to buy a house pretty soon. So while y'all out there playing, and then people say, well, I'll move out the country. How you gonna move out the country? You don't have anything. You're gonna go to another country and live off their salary, and then you gotta live like them. What is a way to get cheaper money? You got to own assets. The best way to get cheaper money is own assets so you can borrow against the asset. Again, let's do this last example before I wrap up. If you go and borrow money unsecured, let's say it's $50,000. You can go right now to SoFi, Lending Club, Best Egg, all them places y'all think that you can get money from. $50,000 on a 3-year term at 21%, you're paying about $1,200 a month. I can go borrow $100,000 against my real estate on a 30-year term at a 7% interest rate. My payment is $600 a month. You can't compete when your money is too expensive. But they didn't teach you that at Howard for $60,000 a year. And I just told you that for free. You got to invest in those other countries. How you invest in other countries? You don't even invest here. And I'm not talking about you per se, but people don't even invest here. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to get money here first, then deploy it into other countries. We ain't even do we want to live this exotic life, but we don't even practice those habits here where the money is cheaper. In other countries, the money is not cheaper. It's more expensive. The money is cheaper here, ladies and gentlemen. And that's the thing we have to understand. We don't understand the cost of money. This is why I will always buy real estate because my money is always cheaper. I can borrow $500,000 on a 30-year term at 7% rate, and my payment is $4,000. You have $50,000 of expenses a year, and you pay more than $4,000 a month to live. See, we don't even understand basic math, and this is why we will continue to be in these situations. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully y'all learned something. Make sure y'all follow me, y'all like, comment, share all of this. And make sure this coming up Thursday, you're on my free webinar. Go to roundtreemasterclass.com, see the link in my bio. And make sure you get there on time because last Thursday, nobody else could get in. We were at capacity because I cap it at the capacity because we got to learn to be on time. So many people lose out on opportunities because they don't value their time. I value mine. Yeah, get your credit back in position. Stop playing. We too old to have bad credit, ladies and gentlemen. Or at least not to be doing anything to reposition it. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all. And I'll see y'all this coming up Thursday on my webinar. And y'all already know. I'll see y'all at the top. Peace.